Hello, everybody. Welcome to my new Sunday market breakdown. So let's start with the DXY as usually. So let's go. What can we see still on the DXY? We have still this bearish W that can play out. If I take my fib from this high now till this low, we just have a 61.80 fib touch, which is nice. We have also a nice rejection of this zone is kind of weekly higher, a lower high selling zone here, this smaller bearish W here that can complete till the downside. We have that very nice rejection that I was telling. This we can see as a bearish candle because it's 50% rejection of the whole week from the low till the high. If we can see like this from this low week till this high, and it's around 130%. We went to the upside and we take the half of it. Yeah, it's around 0.65 is the half, so it's more than the half below that. So for me, it's a bearish candle. It's an indication we have the bearish trend, bearish candle for me, smaller bearish pattern. Then I went to the daily. And what I saw on the daily was, which we were telling, we were previous week around this zone, and I was telling, okay, we have this bigger bearish W. We can go till this smaller shoulder one here, head support in the head, resistance here. We didn't tap it because the trend line was against us here. These two trend lines were holding the price down. So we received that two bearish candle closes. So now the only thing that can stop our price is this resistance that can become support. So we didn't tap it. So I expect more downside momentum for the DXY for a moment with that massive bearish candle close to fill and then go like this and maybe potentially bounce back up or going back to the downside and make this smaller shoulder one, head shoulder two. We will see what we will have there on the DXY, but on the 4-hour we are bearish because we had here our shoulder one, head shoulder two wasn't tapped, but we had a fib completion from the high here to the low, minus 27 got tapped, so we are bearish, and we have now a new fib from this high till this new low, and we can tap this previous structure support, which can become resistance, which acted here already as resistance, so it's a smaller supply and demand zone on the 4-hour, which is nice. So the price can come back till that point. So that's what I expect. 1, 2, 3, 4 coming back till this supply and demand zone, descending trend line holding the price down, and then we can go to the downside till that daily previous structure resistance that can become here support and potentially a small pullback correction and then going more to the downside. So that's what I can see for DXY. So then the trades that I'm looking at, CADJPY. So CADJPY previous week we could take here also some trade. What can you see on CADJPY? We were touching this big selling zone and we had that sellers kicking in from. So after that impulse, we received a kind of correction. I think it was also on the daily, you can see that. We had that impulse and now you had that correction. So now you have that kind of fake out flag that can potentially play out. And we had that shoulder one here, head, shoulder two, that could play out. We went to the same low, so we expected the same highs, which we had here a break of. So what I still expect is, okay, we are bearish, we are not yet bullish, so we can go till these daily lows because the price is now impulsively moving. The daily is still bearish. The weekly is for me, weekly massive bearish candle close at the supply and demand zone. So we had that weekly impulsive candle close that came all the way back up and down. So for me, it's telling that the sellers are still present. So, and I put my horizontal line on that daily zone, and you can see the sellers are here, support. If I look more back, you can see here clearly, you can see here clearly that you have clear support, resistance, almost resistance. So it's a very nice supply and demand zone. And yeah, it was triggered. So I expect more downside momentum for CADJPY. So on the daily, what I saw, this head and shoulder, then potentially then I went to the 4-hour. And on the 4-hour, what could I see? you could potentially enter previous week this bearish W, but then my criteria was 1 on 4, not 2 on 4. So now I have 2 on 4 because the weekly was previous week closing. Yeah, bullish. It was a bullish candle close because this weekly we came all the way back down and all the way back up. And that was indicating for me, okay, the bulls are still present and now the bears are very much present, so more than previous week. So I can take on the 4 hour that bearish W. So as you can see that we had here that you can have here that first leg, second leg, third leg, fourth leg, or you can have here this first leg, second leg, third leg, fourth leg here for going more downside momentum. Because we had a fib completion from this high till this low, -7 got tapped in, so that's why we can show our fib from this high till this low also. And we didn't made a fib completion there, so now we made a new low and lower low, so this is my new fib. So this is a bearish W with an IC, so I expect the price to come till that IC between all the red candles, two massive red candles. You have one blue candle, so that was holding a lot of power in it. And if you look more further, you have here also supply and demand zone. Yeah, a smaller one. If you look further back, yeah, it's a smaller supply and demand zone, not the clearest one, but we have our IC here and the descending trend line. So then GBPUSD. If you look on the weekly, what can you see on the weekly? We have a 4 of 4 criteria. So what can you see? We have that bullish M that can play out. We have our candle that is closing more to the upside than to the downside. For me, it's a bullish candle. We have our fib levels from this low till this high. Fib levels were between 161.80. Then our daily horizontal line I drew. Daily horizontal line on our daily zone of interest, and we look back and you can see it's a very well respected zone. Clear resistance here, support, then here some kind of resistance, support, then support here. So it's a very nice supply and demand zone that holds very well. And then I went to the daily, and what I saw on the daily was you had that bigger pattern, then you had that first leg, second leg, third leg, fourth leg coming more corrective, and then you had here your shoulder 1 here, your head, shoulder 2 pattern within a pattern, and then we waited for that reversal, and then you had that first leg, second leg, third leg, fourth leg coming back to the previous structure here, nice resistance here aligning, which can become support. We didn't tap yet that IC here. We didn't tap it yet, but it's really close. So yeah, it's really close. It just didn't tap. You can see it also as a tap actually. So it's more dangerous, I guess, but I want to take it because the DXY is for me bearish. So if the DXY is bearish and it wants to make that small pullback, then yeah, GBPUSD will go to the upside. So with all these criteria, I will take it. It just didn't tap the IC, and I will take the risk because yeah, it just didn't tap my zone, but you can see it also as a tap. But yeah, I will take it. I will take it. I will take the consequences of that trade. So then EURJPY. On the weekly, what can you see on the weekly? The weekly is still very bullish. We had that very big rejection candle, and that was a sign for me, okay, we can go back to the upside. Because if you look on the line chart, why was that? That massive wick was because we wanted to make that head and shoulder. Shoulder 1 here, head, shoulder 2. After that impulse, we need to receive some correction. So impulse, and now we can also receive that bigger correction because we made a smaller weekly head and shoulders, not the confirmed head and shoulders, not the clearest one, but you see that the liquidity was taken here and now it's more to the downside. It's closing 50% more to the downside of all that weeks. So for me, it's a bearish candle, and we have that supply and demand zone here. Yes, here on the daily horizontal line, you can see support, resistance, and then there is nothing else anymore. But we have that supply and demand zone here, so we have 2 of the 4 criteria with me. So I went to the daily, and what I saw on the daily was, yeah, you can see here, first leg, second leg, third leg, fourth leg. And then, yeah, this leg was very impulsively coming back to the upside, so you couldn't take here a trade because we needed to have a reversal on the 4-hour. And then you had the reversal, shoulder 1, head shoulder 2, bam, you went to the downside. And yeah, our weekly criteria was 1 in the 4, but now 2 of the 4. So now you can take this bearish W here, and you can see clearly impulse, and now we have correction counter to the trend, so that's very nice. I hope to have one more impulse to the upside, and then the descending trend line holding the price down, and then we can go to the downside. So this is the entry I want to take on this previous structure that can become resistance, aligning with its descending trend line. So this is a trade I'm looking at for EURJPY. So I hope you liked it, and I see you next week. So have a nice trading week, and yeah, bye.